Hello, welcome to my channel, Another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and I am here to do a tag for Tag Tuesday, and that will be the Quarter Year Crisis Book Tag. And I'm doing this tag because all the other tag videos that I've been tagged in need a lot of preparation, and I come up to Monday morning when I need to do my tag video recording, and I've not done any real preparations for those, so I'm going to push them off for another week or two. So here are the questions for the Quarter Year Crisis Book Tag. How many books have you read so far? I have read 66 books, which is pretty darn incredible. A lot of them were short, but that's still fairly impressive. Next question. Have you already found a book that you think might be a 2022 favorite? If not, what was your favorite book you read that wasn't quite 5-star? Well, I don't really like to give out 5-star reviews or ratings, but I know what the question means. And excluding rereads, because there were a lot of great rereads this year. I did J.R. by William Gaddis, I did Beloved by Toni Morrison, I did The Stranger by Albert Camus, The Postman Always Rings Twice by James M. Cain, and a few others, which were definitely very, very good books, which would count as 5 stars. But for books that I have not read before, there are 2 that stand out. And one is one that I should have read many, many, many years ago, and that is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. Yes, I know I'm very derelict in my duties as someone who reads science fiction, who have taken all these years to read that book. And it's a pretty funny book too, and I'm glad I did that. It was for the Humor Book Group. It was run by Mark at Book Time with Elvis. I hope that group sort of kickstarts again and we start reading more humor books, because that was a lot of fun. And the second one was 9 Nasty Words, English in the Gutter, Then and Now and Forever by John McWhorter. And this is basically a linguistics history about swearing. Now, I've mentioned this book a couple times before because I really like to swear. I don't swear too much on my videos because every time I use a cuss word, I tend to lose a subscriber or two. Not sure if that's anything really to do with swearing and loss of subscribers, but I'm going to try to refrain from one of my... I'm sorry, my cat just knocked over the fake tree. But I love swearing. And he gives a history of how swear words got started. Now, the big one I've mentioned before is that, this is a swear word I think I can mention, is that blasphemies like oaths against God or Odin used to be terribly, terribly profane. They were the worst possible swear words that you could do. And words about sexual congress or defecation were much more common, and you could use those in daily conversation. And it goes into somewhat ethnic slurs and gender slurs, and it's just fun because it's read. I did the audiobook and it was read by the author. It's just fun to listen to this college professor cussing up a whole bunch in every chapter, thoroughly just describing how cuss words work. So 9 Nasty Words by John McWhorter is just a really freaking fantastic book. See, I restrained. I should have used the other F word, but I restrained myself. Next question. Any 1-star books, least favorite book of the year? I have 2 very strong candidates for least favorite book of the year. One I will not mention because it is still a candidate for a Booktube prize in translated literature. It has gone on to the 2nd round. It just goes to show that other readers have other opinions than me, and I'm just going to stay silent until that book wins or loses. The other book was Knight's Master by Tanith Lee. That was done by February Fantasy Stories. And it was just not a very engaging fantasy story at all. And I just had to force myself to finish reading it. And it's just not at all entertaining. Next question. Most read genre so far. Well, I keep all my reading history in a database, so I can give some pretty accurate numbers. As I said, I have read 66 books. One was young adult, and that was Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Now, I rarely read anything young adult, but I actually liked this book. It was quite fun. Next, I read 3 plays. I read 34 works of fiction, 2 horror books, 10 mystery or crime books, 6 nonfiction, 3 works of poetry, and 7 works of science fiction. And that is my breakdown. A book that surprised you. I don't think anything came as a big surprise. I did not like some books as much as I thought I would. I guess the biggest surprise was when I was a judge for translated fiction, that none of those books were a standout wonderful read. And it was just, the best was just sort of meh. And that was The Book of Mother by Violin Hausman. A book that's come out in 22 already that you want to read but haven't yet. There have no books that have come out in 22 that have been released that I want to read. There is a book that's coming out later this year in December, and that is Cormac McCarthy's, I guess it's 2 books, The Passenger and Stella Morris. I have ordered a box set that'll be delivered in December. I think the 2 novels individually are October and November. Although I'm excited about this, I'm a little concerned. I really liked Cormac McCarthy's earlier works, especially Blood Meridian, Child of God. But his later works, which include his most popular, which was The Road and No Country for Old Men, I thought were a little disappointing. So I want to see if he can go back to that greatness of his early novels. Next question. One goal you made that you're succeeding at. Well, I succeeded at the 100 book challenge. And if you're not familiar, that's where I had to read 100 books that I already owned before buying another book. And that goal is in the bag. It is done, and I am buying books again. So great for me, I finished that. Next question. One goal you need to focus more on. I don't have any real particular goals right now. I have one that I am going to set, and I think I'm going to do a video on that later this week or next week. And it's just going to be about how many pages I read in a year. New to you, Booktubers, Bookstagram, Booktokers for 2022 that you recommend. One new channel that I've noticed coming up in my comments is Read by Fred. I've watched a couple of his videos. He's done one on The Great God Pan, which unfortunately I haven't watched yet. And I want to watch it because I really like The Great God Pan by Arthur Machen. And it's fun to look behind him because he has some great books on his shelves. And go take a look at his video. And he has one book a box set of folio books. That's definitely something to drool over. And that is the end of the tag. I'm not going to tag anyone in this. If you feel like doing a quarter crisis book tag, go ahead and do it. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day. Goodbye.